I told you I'm bored and overeducated.
Here we go again.
Welcome to the Bored and Overeducated podcast. I am one of your hosts, W, and this is my lovely co-host.
Hey, besties. Hey, everybody. It's your girl, Dr. B, aka Dr. Bina Berry. And today is going to be a heavy but important topic. So we hope that you all will tune in and really listen to the information that we share today. And we look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments and being able to interact with you because it's so important that we be discussing the things that are happening in the world. So, W, break down real quick what our topic is going to be for today, and then we'll start getting into it.
All right, so we're going to discuss the disappearance and the murder of Nolan Xavier Wells. Before I continue, I just want to say that legally it's not considered a murder, but the circumstances that surround the death of Nolan Xavier Wells leads me to believe that this unfortunate soul, this 18-year-old, was murdered, right? And
Yes.
so before we continue, I would like Dr. B to just give a disclaimer on how we should approach a topic like this, because this is a very serious matter. It's going to ruffle some feathers, unfortunately. It shouldn't. We should all be in one accord about how to feel and how to approach this. But since that's not the world we live in, Dr. B, will you please give our besties
Absolutely.
and whoever else a disclaimer on how we will approach this?
Absolutely. Yeah, perfectly said, W. So yeah, our hope with this episode, because you all know usually a lot of the times we're covering topics that are educational but also humorous, right? We often are bringing humor to you guys and we're kikiing and laughing while we're learning. This is not going to be one of those episodes, right? The energy is going to be different and it's intentional because it should be. I think a lot of us have been desensitized to violence, desensitized to racism, desensitized to a lot of the corruption that's happening in the world. And it's a big part of what allows these things to continue happening. So we are going to use the platform that we have created to be a model and a space of how we should be approaching these things. And our goal for today is to show the respect and honoring towards Nolan and his family that is deserved, and to discuss what happened in the situation and everything that led up to his murder. By going over the facts, we're going to then discuss those facts and our thoughts and opinions on things based also in statistics and patterns that we're seeing. So we ask that you all, join into the conversation as always still in the comments. We want to hear from our besties, from our community. We want us to be having dialogue because we cannot afford to take these things lightly. And even though these things are sadly happening way too often, because once is way too often, right? We cannot shy away from discussion because we have to use our voices and use the power and control that we do have to create change. And so we hope that you will join us on that mission.
Thank you. And once again, well said, Dr. B. So going into the story today, we're discussing Nolan Xavier Wells, an 18-year-old who was murdered on Horn Island, Mississippi, I believe. But going back a little bit, where are they from? Nolan Xavier Wells is of African-American descent as well as Filipino descent. And he was 18 years old, just graduated from Ocean Springs High School in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. July 3rd, he told his parents where he was going. He told his parents what he was doing. He told his parents who he would be with. Unfortunately, on July 6th, his body was found. But before July 6th, between July 3rd to July 6th, no one knew, not even the people that he went to Horn Island with, where Nolan Xavier Wells was.
Yeah. Right. The people that were even with him.
Which is scary for a parent to feel, to live in, right? Because if your child has certain habits, certain patterns, right? And from what we're understanding from the case, Nolan has never given his parents any reason to mistrust him.
Right. Clearly.
So for Nolan to tell his parents on July 3rd, Friday, 2026, where he was going, what he was doing, who he would be with, and for the people around him to not know anything after being interrogated by the police is
Suspicious, right?
it's
And that's
disturbing. It is suspicious. Yes.
And that's why we're choosing, and again, we do wanna just one more time for the sake of it, that everybody understands that we are using the word murder right now, even though there have not been conclusions yet about what occurred, but we're using that under the fact that this seems extremely suspicious. W and I are both open to being wrong. We hope we're wrong, right? We hope that we're wrong about that. But the facts so far are kind of glaring in that direction. And so, for simplicity and for the purpose of this episode, we just thought that that was fitting and respectful, especially with all of the grief and distress that his family is enduring right now. But yeah, we hear a lot of these facts, right? We hear that Nolan, W didn't say this time around, but like Nolan even had like an intimate dinner with his family, and he had this quality time before leaving, and like so he's sharing in community with them and excited to go on this trip with his friends, and it was just supposed to be for the 4th of July. And all of a sudden that it ends up like the tables turn and we end up in this very confusing and dark situation where all of the people who were with him on an island, by the way, right? Like a smaller remote piece of land. If we were not going to know where someone was, you would think that that would be like, oh, we went to the big city and got and we got like lost, and he went to a store or something and we couldn't contact him, but they were on an island. So we really do need to like take in what that means. If I am in a remote smaller area with people, you would expect that I would know where they're at and what's going on more easily than if I was in a more crowded or highly populated area. So it just wasn't making sense, including like, why would you leave your friend on this island when he does not have a way to get back? W, were you able to find any information on like how far out of a boat ride it was? Like how long it took them to get to where they were going?
Um,
Like how far out were they to, and then that also puts it into context of like, people don't even leave their friends at a club by themselves, you know what I mean? So
mhm.
you're leaving someone on a remote island.
It's an 8-mile distance between the island and the coast of Mississippi in that area. Still not favorable for anyone to swim
Mhm.
on their own, right?
Mhm.
So that's one fact. The next fact that we want to share is this. When the police interrogated Nolan's friends, the three white men who were also with Nolan at that time, they said that Nolan wanted to stay back to talk to a girl. That girl was reached out to, and that woman that Nolan wanted to speak to, she said that Nolan was going back with his friends. So we have a discrepancy in the
Mhm.
story between the people. There's someone lying, and this case is turning to a he, she said rather
Yeah.
than um, a hunt for answers.
Right, and truth. Because you would
Right.
wonder, like, what makes it really suspicious, is you would expect that given the fact that Nolan was found, deceased, that there should now be an urgency to share all of what you know, right? If you are
Mhm.
truly innocent, if you had nothing to do with that, you would be, like, shocked and then be wanting to share, like, "This is all that I remember. This is, exactly what was said and what happened," and the eagerness is missing. And there's more like anxiety and secrecy and vagueness. And so that does raise eyebrows because when you omit information in situations like this, statistically, we have often seen that that's because there is some level of involvement for the people in one way or another, whether accidental or not, right? But like it's like, what are you trying to protect and hide if you had
Mhm.
nothing to do with this and you just left him?
Correct. Next, information that I want to share is this. There's also videos circulating around social media of an altercation on this particular island where you see many white people and you do see one black person or one person who could be perceived as black with brown
Mhm.
skin
Mhm.
and with a similar hairstyle to Nolan.
Mm.
Someone has come out to say that it was he and Nolan in a little disagreement.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that person, Tracy Shepard, is unknown to the parents.
Mm.
Also, in this video, Trayston Shepard is brown skinned as well. And in
Mm.
this video that is circulating, there's only one brown skinned person who fits Nolan's description. And unfortunately, we cannot see the person on the other side of Nolan and other side of the people.
Oh,
So we're not
yeah.
really sure if he is telling the truth or if he's being um, coaxed to
Yeah.
follow a story. So again, there is a lot of discrepancy. There's a lot of voices making the story more murky than it
Yeah.
actually is, right?
Yeah.
And that's another disturbing part of this.
Was it
How many
even
people are coming
confirmed
out?
though, like if that other
Mhm.
person went on this trip at all? Is there any concrete evidence that he was even there?
So what we do know is that Nolan did not stay on that island.
Okay.
We do know that. There
Mhm.
is some tampering with his body. The reason that we're saying that is because reports are saying that, but also there are visual evidence, more pictures coming out of Nolan at a party later on at another location at somebody's
Mm.
house. So
Mhm.
that potential argument may not have happened at Horn Island, and it may not have even been with that individual, right?
Yeah.
So again, more murkiness and the happenings of this situation. We don't know anything
Yeah.
about this. All we do know is Nolan's life was taken.
Yes.
That's what we do know. We do know
Mhm.
that he went to Horn Island with three white men that he went to high school with,
Mhm.
and none of them were able to give the police any type of information that could
Mm.
help find the answers to the death of this young man.
Yeah, and it's just
That's what we do
genuinely
know.
it's just heartbreaking that that's the only thing that we can say with, like, the most conviction and certainty, that, we know that he has passed and that something happened, but that's all that we have, and tomorrow, Wednesday, July 22nd, they're supposed to be releasing the results of the, independent autopsy that was done that I believe a celebrity, right, paid for?
Well,
Oh.
yes. So Ben Crump, um, Colin Kaepernick,
Yes, mhm,
paid for the transportation of Noah's body from Mississippi to Washington, D.C., to have the body examined.
mm,
Unfortunately, they also sensed that there was some foul play within the private investigation of the body, not just in how Nolan possibly could have passed, but with the medical examiners in Jackson County of Mississippi. So that's more information
ugh,
on the disturbing nature of this case and of this particular
I'm just so tired.
individual. Yeah, it is disappointing. It is um frustrating that in the year 2026
Mhm,
we are still dealing with the lack of care towards people who are perceived Black. Um,
yes. Yeah, and that's what I mean by tired. The
yeah,
other, descriptive words that you use are still spot on, right? It's not like tired, like, not, wanting to retreat from dealing with this, right? Obviously, there needs to continuously be voices and presence and us standing up and speaking out and being the change that's so desperately needed in the world. But yeah, it's just, you're just exasperated by the repetition of similar details being present for the loss of many Black and brown individuals, right? And it's just there's all of these parallels, and then people continuously wanting to be, in denial or kind of be a turtle in a shell and not really dealing with what's happening and not recognizing that what you view as self-preservation to make your life a little more easy and a little more comfortable allows for these things to continue to happen because what is downplayed, what is dismissed, what is minimized is allowed. right? The more that we act like it's not a big deal when horrific things happen, the more that they happen, right? Because it's enabling. So yeah, but no, I agree with you. Yeah, definitely we don't want it to be a tired as in like giving up, but
Mhm.
no, never that. Just
Yeah.
tired like I'm gonna take a rest and be back to fight.
With everything that's going on, with all the mysterious lynchings that are happening
Yeah.
around the United States. And just to be clear, a lynching isn't only hanging someone from a tree, it's also unexplained disappearances of Black bodies in particular. In the United States, there's a long history of Black women, Black men, Black children disappearing without a trace. Police declaring that these disappearances are either suicide is wrong. Police declaring that it's just a missing person case is wrong. People are getting kidnapped. People
Mhm.
are getting murdered. We don't know who exactly is doing this, but one can assume that Nolan's case is not one in a vacuum. It's a trend, and we need to put a lot of light on this and so many others. Um, with that being said, not to beat a dead horse, this is the Bored and Overeducated podcast. I'm W, one of your hosts.
And I'm Dr. B, and we are so grateful that you all took the time to click on this video and sit with what you knew was going to be heaviness, and to be willing to see it and address it and be a part of the change. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. We will likely be doing another part 2 as more
A
information
follow-up?
comes out.
Mhm.
Yep, a follow-up. And I hope that you all will also be seeking out information and staying up to date with what's going on and what's happening and finding your own ways that align with where you're at and who you are to speak out and make change as well. So we love you guys. We appreciate you, bestie community, and we're looking forward to conversation in the comments. And be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Bye, y'all.